LSU survives Kansas State in 10 innings. It's Locked On LSU. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. We're live here on YouTube. It's Friday evening as we are live in LSU outlasts Kansas State there in Frisco, 8-5. In 10 innings. We got to go through what started as a dominant performance by Cade Anderson that got bumpy by the bullpen, which we have to talk about. Some heroics both in the field and at the plate for the Tigers, and it all adds up to an 8-5 win for LSU over a Kansas State team, which, let's not forget, they were a super regional team a year ago, although they lost 7 of their top guys in the lineup and started, 3-4 to start the season. It was a tough start to the season. They lost 4 of their first 5. Last weekend, they went to Globe Life and swept the weekend. They beat top 5 Arkansas. They beat Michigan. They had a very nice weekend last week, did Kansas State. And you could tell this is a pretty feisty Kansas State squad that LSU had some opportunities, kind of a familiar refrain here, to blow this thing open and didn't do it. Kansas State hung around, and ultimately they gave LSU all they wanted and a whole lot more. A couple of things in this ball game that were just outstanding. You had back-to-back home runs by Kansas State, tie the game when it looked like LSU was cruising. You had an opportunity for LSU to absolutely blow the game open, but Ashton Larson strikes out in a massive spot. You had what looked like it was going to be a game-winning double off of Kason Evans by Dardar in the 9th. And then what a play by Josh Pearson to cut it off in the gap. The relay throw to Milam pegs the runner at the plate to push the game. And not only that, but then to get the third out of the inning in the 9th to push the game into extras was outstanding. The double play in the 8th that the Tigers turned to get out of trouble was huge. And then, of course, in the 10th for LSU to come up the way they did offensively. And Josh Pearson, lo and behold, what does Josh Pearson do? He comes up in clutch situations and gets hits. One of the reasons why I'm going to look back and say, hey, remember on Wednesday when you were playing Dallas Baptist and you had Josh Pearson bunt twice? Why are you doing that? Josh Pearson never bunts. Stop asking guys to do things they don't do. Jay Johnson's a smart coach. Know that. But I do think LSU at times this year is getting way too cute. I understand wanting to have a lot of these different things in your arsenal, but you've also seen the steal and stop a couple times. It hasn't worked. Got Derek Curiel thrown out at home in this ball game. Got Jared Jones thrown out at second base on Wednesday night against Dallas Baptist. This LSU team is talented enough to win any game they play without doing all of that stuff. It's almost like you say, man, just go play them straight up because you're better than they are. And that's going to be the case more often than not with LSU in this ball in this season because they are super talented and it continues to manifest that way. Admittedly, I know I'm going to get to a lot of your questions, comments. I'm sure a lot of people are going to comment about the stream and what happened. The game, for those that don't know, the games are being played in Frisco, Texas, and they're being streamed at d1baseball.com on their website. And there was a massive hiccup. The D1 Baseball's website was not ready for the excessive high volume that LSU fans drove to that site. And that's something that D1 Baseball has got to fix. It's inexcusable. This is too high level of product to have something like that happen. And look, y'all know my affinity for those guys. I love Kendall. He's been so good to us and come on the show for a long time. And D1 Baseball has been instrumental in help elevating college baseball because they provide a level of coverage for college baseball that previously did not exist. So I love those guys and they do a great job. But this is one of those things where if you're going to continue to try to put on events like this, you got to be ready because it's a negative reflection whenever something like that happens. I was trying to log on and I was told I was put in a queue for 28 minutes. It was 10 minutes after the game started. You got to be able to deliver in situations like that. So that's unfortunate. That's what I'll say about that. But I know a lot of people are going to talk about it. So drop your comments. And we'll get to it. Let's talk about Cade Anderson here. And by the way, if you're joining us live, thank you so much for that. I know a lot of you are going to listen and watch this on demand, so thank you very much. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Hit the bell so you're notified when we post a video or go live. I'll give you my thoughts on the game, and then we'll break, and I'll come back and I'll get to all your comments. We'll fire away on that. I thought Cade Anderson was awesome in this ballgame. It was nice to see him extend. He got over 90 pitches, but just like last week, we saw Cade Anderson start to slow. The 2 home runs, the back-to-back home runs that he gave up in the 6th were the last 2 hitters that he would face. But another really good day for Cade Anderson. His final line ended up being, I'm toggling back and forth here. Anderson went 5 1/3, 10 strikeouts. He walked 3, which is just something you don't love to see, but he was able to work around a lot of that early trouble. He gave up just 3 hits, but 2 of them were the solo home runs in the 6th. But nice to see Cade Anderson extend. He got to 92 pitches. He was quite good. Maverick Rizzi, I don't mind Maverick Rizzi giving up the hits. What I have a problem with are the walks, and then DJ Primo coming up and hitting 2 batters with the bases loaded. That's the kind of thing that in a game where you were threatening to take complete control and take over this ball game, you open the door to let them back in. And that just can't happen. What a response. Just like on Wednesday night against Dallas Baptist, when Dallas Baptist had their crooked number, LSU responded with a 2 spot to take the momentum right back. And then in the 6th, when Kansas State got back-to-back homers, LSU responded with Daniel Dickinson's 3-run homer in the 7th to take the big 5-2 lead. And it felt like you were going to put this game away. And then you had all the trouble in the bottom of the 7th. And the problem with it is you opened the door for them. It wasn't, they got a couple of singles to start the inning, but the walks and the hit batsmen were the things that ultimately allowed them to get back and tie that ball game. So those are the types of things that Jay Johnson's going to look for. Who in these situations like that can you trust? Who in those situations can you go to? And so we're learning a lot of that. Connor Benj came in, gave you an inning and 2/3, gave up just 1 hit, struck out 1, walked 1, didn't allow a run. So Benj had a really nice hold. Again, you got the great defensive play on the double play to get out of trouble. And then Kason Evans came and got you the final 2 innings of work in the 9th and the 10th. He threw 33 pitches, 20 of them for strikes, struck out 3, walked 1. But again, the big moment was in the 9th with the with the double and the play by Josh Pearson to cut it off, relay it in to Milam, who cut down the runner at the plate, which was just awesome to see. A great defensive play, which extended it to 10, where the Tigers did their damage. For all those who wondered about Stephen Milam having the early struggles, 2 for 5 in this ball game, scored a run, doesn't seem to be a problem. The other thing, Chris Stanfield, again, I know a lot of people after Stanfield struck out twice with the bases loaded the other day. There was this feeling, what's wrong with Stanfield? Well, Stanfield got on base twice, and he scored twice in this game. So I'm telling you, he had a stolen base as well. I like Stanfield in the 9-hole because you have a guy with tremendous speed who can handle the bat, and he's dangerous on the base paths, and it's a table setter, effectively like back-to-back leadoff guys when you turn it over to Derek Curiel. And Curiel continues to roll. He was 1 for 4 in this ball game. He had the triple early in the ball game, which was phenomenal to see. Had the RBI. I like the way the lineup stacks. And maybe the most important part of the lineup is Dickinson, because remember, before the season started, one of the things that I said, if you're an everydayer, you've heard this conversation, and thank you for being an everydayer. One of the things, not just me, I mean, this was a conversation a lot of people had, was who was going to provide protection for Jared Jones in the lineup. And ultimately, look, Kansas State intentionally walked Jones twice in this ballgame. And the second time they did it was in the 7th, just before Dickinson hit the 3-run homer. So listen, there's still going to be teams that pitch around Jared Jones that are going to choose to put him on base. And I understand it. But if they do that, you have to have someone who is there that can make a team pay for that decision. And Dickinson is proving more than capable of being that guy because he keeps coming through in these situations. The example it was the Dylan Cruz, Tommy White dynamic. Teams were pitching around Dylan Cruz in 2023. Well, guess who was waiting? The guy who led the country in RBI, Tommy White. Okay, you want to pitch around Cruz? Great. Put someone with great speed on base for the best RBI guy in college baseball, and LSU made him pay time and again, and Dickinson continues to prove that over and over again here. A couple of other notes, and by the way, if I could give a little hat tip and a plug, Hunt Palmer's got a great recap up at louisianasports.net, always free, no paywalls, always free. Go check it out. LSU was 4 for 14 with runners in scoring position. K-State just 1 of 11, and K-State was 0 for 8 with 2 outs. When you got the 2 outs, you were able to stamp it out, which was really great to see. And how about, I don't want to, this was quiet, but Jake Brown, 2 for 5 with a run scored in this ball game, which was great to see as well. Okay, a couple of my thoughts on this. Now LSU turns the page. They'll take on Nebraska on Saturday. Let me break very quickly. When we come back, it's all you. I'll get to your questions, comments, so drop them in the chat. I appreciate you for being there with us. We'll get to your comments and a preview for LSU Nebraska as we continue Locked on LSU, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Fabric. And as we like to say, life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first step. Before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You could be covered in less than 10 minutes. And in many cases, no health exam is required. As a parent, if you want to make sure your family is financially protected, no matter what happens, Fabric will give you that peace of mind, and it's affordable. You can get up to $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. So protecting your loved ones doesn't have to break the bank. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. March basketball is here, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with PrizePicks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With PrizePicks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. It's fast, easy, and it keeps every game exciting. It's quick and easy. You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds. You can stay engaged all game long. I actually have notifications set on my phone, so I get pinged from the PrizePicks app reminding me to make my picks that day. And when you win, there's fast payouts. You can get your money. It'll hit your account in less than 15 minutes. No waiting around. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Okay, let's get to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. If you are watching live, so much appreciated. Please smash the like button on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video or go live. If you're listening or watching on demand, we appreciate you so much, especially on podcasts. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. As a reminder, when LSU games go final, we're here live on the channel. So make a note, tell a friend, we'll be here. Saturday might be tricky. I'm going to be in New Orleans for the Endymion Ball. The game's at 4, so I will probably actually be headed to the Endymion Ball. So we'll probably have to wait till Sunday for the recap from Saturday's game. But as many times I can do this, promise to do it. Glad to have you here. Hey, Brant, thanks for being there. He said, glad to see the team working through adversity early in the season. Plays right into what you were saying, why you like tournaments 3 weeks into the season. I do. Because it's fun to look at the gaudy numbers and statistics when you obliterate Purdue Fort Wayne. It's more meaningful when you go away from home and you find a way to win a game in extras against a team like Kansas State, because you're going to face adversity like this in conference play. It's undeniable. Big Mill says, sucks, I couldn't watch the game. It was unfortunate, man. No doubt. I see a lot of the comments about the stream. I agree with you completely. I see this 2 ways. Number one, I very much like and respect the people that run D1 baseball. And I think that is an amazing resource for people like me who are college baseball fans. They do an awesome job covering college baseball. The flip side of that also is, if you are going to put on events like this, you have got to be able to deliver. And they did not deliver, and that's unfortunate. Hey, Connor, why did Jay go with Primo with the bases loaded? Lefty. He's going for a matchup, and I'm okay with that. And listen, a lot of this is also learning about your team. Okay. Yes, you want to win all these games. Of course you do. But look at how the roles have developed, right? The first guy out of the bullpen, the first game against Purdue Fort Wayne on that Friday was Casey Evans. Well, now Casey Evans is your closer. Now, when Gavin Guidry comes back, I don't know what his role is going to be, but it's going to be hard to imagine anyone other than Casey Evans being your closer. Now, maybe you get a situation where Evans becomes your stopper. Tough situation, middle of the game, boom, here comes Evans, and then Guidry's the closer. But look at that evolution that we've already seen. Well, this was a spot where they went to a veteran lefty and DJ Primo in a big spot to go lefty-lefty, and he didn't deliver. He hit two guys with the bases loaded. Like, I don't think I can trust DJ Primo in that spot again. So you look for lower leverage spots for Primo moving forward where you want to get him in there and get some work to try to build it up again. Jacob Mott, bullpen struggles. Yeah, there was, I'll tell you, this was one of the things that's really concerning. Two of LSU's relievers in this ball game threw more balls than strikes. Rizzi threw 15 balls, 12 strikes. Benj threw 13 balls and 12 strikes. That's not okay, especially coming out of the opening weekend where LSU walked two batters in 3 games, or was it 3 batters? I think it was 2 batters. The opening weekend, they walked 2 batters in 3 games. Like, we were lauding them for pumping strikes. You got to be able to throw the ball over the plate because your inability to do that in this game cost you, or nearly cost you. LSU's pitchers walked 7 hitters. You struck out 15. I mean, which speaks to the overwhelming arm talent you have. You struck out 15 guys in this ball game. There's 27 outs in the game. Now, in this one, you needed 30. But, half of the outs you recorded in this ballgame were strikeouts. But you walked 7. I mean, they had, in the game, Kansas State had 10 hits, 7 walks. You can't do it. I mean, I'm not going to oversimplify it, but it is that simple. Trivia Carter, Thomas, Wade, appreciate y'all for being there with us. Thomas said, sucks not being able to get the live stream of the game, preferred on ESPN Plus. I understand that. But listen, so you know how those contracts work. ESPN has the rights deal with the SEC. So when LSU is playing games at home or at SEC venues, that's all part of the SEC rights agreement. When you go play in an event like this, D1 Baseball is the one that organizes the Frisco Classic. So they're selling the sponsorships. They have the venue. They're inviting the teams to come play. So they have the broadcast rights. So they chose to broadcast it on their site. It makes a lot of sense because they're going to drive up subscriptions. They have overhead to stream the game and pay the announcers and all that stuff and cameramen and all that. But they know they're going to make it up on subscriptions. So the model works for them, but you've got to be able to deliver if you're going to do that. Let's see. I am scrolling through some of these to get to some questions and comments. A lot of these are about the stream, and I do understand. Big Mill said Cade is awesome until the 6th inning. We have seen him now in back-to-back weeks run out of gas seemingly in the 6th. It was nice, though, to see his pitch count get to 92. But I'll say this to you, Big Mill. And Jay said this last week as well. So Cade Anderson was awesome through 5, and then he ran into trouble in the 6th. And Cade Anderson was really disappointed in himself. I mean, he was if you heard his post-game press conference last week after the Omaha game, he kind of talked about that. For him, it was more about the struggles in the 6th than the great job he did through 5. But Jay Johnson said, I'll take that outing every day. Because if you're dominant and unhittable through 5 innings, you're giving your bullpen a rest because you're getting deep into a ball game, and you're giving your offense a chance to give the bullpen a lead when you hand the ball off. So if what this materializes for Cade Anderson is he's a 5-inning starter who's dominant for 5 and then runs out of gas, okay, I'll take 5 shutout innings from my starter in every game all year. You give this team 5 scoreless innings from your starter, chances are you're handing the ball to your bullpen with a lead. It's going to be rare that teams handcuff this LSU team for 5 innings. So I'll take it, especially early in the season. So, we'll see. Seth, get off of work, come home, do more work. You're the man. I love doing it, Seth. And candidly, If y'all weren't here, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm doing a live stream right now at 7 o'clock on a Friday night, and there's 210 people watching concurrently live. I love y'all. So thank you for that. Like, if y'all weren't here, I wouldn't be doing it. As long as y'all are here, I'm happy to do this. So thank you so much. I love baseball. I love LSU baseball. I love the passion people have for college baseball and the LSU baseball season. It's one of my favorite times of year. So yeah, I'm always happy to do this. Let's see. Farmer Family said, good win. Thanks for the content, Matt. You got it. Aspen, thank you for being there. Benton, Abernethy, how are you? I feel if we're paying for this, it shouldn't be the Blair Witch Project while we watch. I was on air during the game, so a lot of it was watching the game cast and sneaking peeks at the game when I could. So some of you got to actually see more of it than I could. But this is a great point by Guy Brooks. I believe Hernandez has locked up the catcher position. No doubt, right? I mean, the last two games have told you that he certainly has the lead. You went and played a ranked team in Dallas Baptist on Wednesday. Hernandez caught. Here you go for Friday against Kansas State. Probably your toughest opponent of the weekend. Hernandez is catching. It's very obvious. I still don't know that he's an elite defensive catcher, but he is certainly your best option. And he hit the ball hard a couple times again today. I don't know that you're going to get overwhelming offensive production out of that spot, but Hernandez right now is a guy that's got 600 career at-bats and is steadier defensively. And it kind of feels like, remember, that's a guy last year at Indiana State who mostly DH'd and played first base. He didn't really catch much last year. So he's still getting back into the rhythm of being a catcher every day. And I think there will be opportunities for Cade Arambidi to give Hernandez a day off and to get some reps. But I agree with you. I think Hernandez is clearly taking that spot as of now. Go Tigers, finally some post-game coverage. Thank you for being there. This is true. Great point. Stanfield makes every play look like it's easy in center field. And that's one of the reasons you're going to continue to see Stanfield play. Now, for everydayers, you've heard me say this, but I do think there's going to be situations in games where when you're facing a righty, remember today, Kansas State started a lefty, Frost. But there's going to be times when you start a righty and Jay wants to stack the lineup with lefties, and you're going to see that outfield from left to right. That's Larson, Curiel in center, and Brown in right, and Stanfield goes to the bench. But by and large, this is the lineup you're going to see. Curiel in left, Stanfield in center, Brown in right. And I love that because all three of those guys are center fielders. You have three center fielders playing outfield with that lineup. And Stanfield, who started the season leadoff, now that Curiel's proven he's ready for this. Now you can look at that and you could bump Stanfield down to the 9-hole, take a lot of the pressure off of him as the table setter at the top of the lineup. Now it's effectively like having another leadoff guy at the bottom of the lineup before you turn the lineup over. So look, I mean, Stanfield got on base twice, scored twice. You put that type of speed on the base pass, that type of experience at the bottom of your order, and an elite defensive center fielder. Yes, there's a lot of reason to like that. Hey, club. Thank you so much for being there. Miracle Martinez, thanks for being there. Thomas, we appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. James, which LSU pitcher hit two batters? That was earlier in the week. Thought it was Primo. If by chance it was Primo. No, I think, I don't want to call out the wrong guy. I'm almost positive it was Cooper Williams who ran into a little bit of trouble in the game against Dallas Baptist. And then they brought in Casey Evans. So, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, but so much of this these early season games is Jay learning his lineup. So when you get, it's almost like in the NFL where you have different levels of intensity. You got the preseason, the regular season, and then the postseason. Every level, the intensity ratchets up. So that's kind of where you are right now. You got these pre-conference games, then you got the SEC, then you got your postseason. Everything continues to ratchet. So you're learning what you are right now, what guys you like in what roles. Like, think about what we've learned about Casey Evans in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, think about all 3 weeks of games. All that we've learned about Casey Evans from him taking the ball as the first guy out of the bullpen to now. I mean, he's a straight dude that if you got to get an out in a tough situation, that's the guy you're going to get. Brant Dickinson is going to be that dude. I think he kind of already is. John Crawford, I was in that number today with my twin boys at their first LSU baseball game. That's awesome, man. What a great day. Caleb, complete team win. I think Rizzi will continue to mature and learn. Evans has been exceptional as a freshman, handling all the pressure. I agree with you on Rizzi. I mean, Rizzi's one of those guys like Cooper Williams the other night. These dudes that are tall, they're long, they throw mid-90s, and it's just going to be about comfort and experience in those situations. But yes, the talent, the arm talent is undeniable with those guys. It's just about getting them experience and finding out what their role is going to be. Mike Ross, LSU defensively looks capable of playing their way to Omaha. Couldn't agree more. We've talked about the play Pearson made on the double. And we've talked about the outfielders that you have the options there. Dickinson made another great play deep in the hole today. How about the 4-6-3 double play to get out of a sticky spot in the late innings as well? Yes, completely agree. Braswell has been very solid defensively at third when he's been in there. This looks like now look, there were 30 outs in this game and 15 of them came via the strikeouts. So defensively, you're not having a ton of chances defensively because your pitchers have been so good. But yes, the defense looks fantastic. The depth of arms is certainly, and offensively, this team is really good. But something I'll repeat now for those who maybe missed it as we started. One of the things that I don't love right now is how much action and how much LSU is trying to force the issue offensively that's costing you. Mikey Ryan had a pinch hit AB in the, forgive me, I'm not looking at the box score right now, if it was the 8th or the 9th. And he tried to bunt twice, fouled it off twice, and then they tried a slash bunt, and he struck out on the slash bunt attempt where, there it is, it was in the 10th. No, I'm sorry, it couldn't have been in the 10th. Was that then? It had to be in the, forgive me. Was it the 9th? I'm sorry, y'all. No, it was in the top of the 10th. It was in the top of the 10th. So, yeah. So Milam singled to start the 10th. Brown reached on the throwing error, so you had first and third. Pearson came up with the single to give you the lead. Then Mikey Ryan came up with a runner on third and struck out. Then Curiel walked. Then Dickinson got the 2 RBI single. But Curiel was out at home again because you had a caught stealing where you try to do the stop start or the steal stop. And Curiel gets thrown out at home. And then you had the slash bunt by Mikey Ryan. So he strikes out. I mean, those are 2 outs you gave up because you're not just playing it straight up. Like Michael Ryan can hit. Let him swing. Anyway, look, Jay Johnson's a great coach. And this is an athletic, talented team. And I know he's trying to utilize all their skill sets. I get it. I just don't love that. I didn't love bunting Josh Pearson on Wednesday night. I know you had a runner on third. You're trying to run a suicide squeeze to get Stanfield home. Pearson, who doesn't bunt regularly, pops one up. You get Stanfield pegged for a double play. You're out of an inning when you had a big scoring opportunity. Today, you let Pearson swing. He delivers for you. Jay said it so often. Josh Pearson is maybe the most clutch guy playing in college baseball right now for all the big at-bats he's had over his 4 years in college. Like, let that dude swing away. So if I have a criticism, that's it. Listen, it's very hard to sit here and criticize Jay Johnson. I think he's the best coach in college baseball. He's the best recruiter. He's a great baseball mind. He's assembled a great staff, and he's won a ton. Nobody's flawless. Nobody's infallible. That's just a preference. I think this team, I was actually watching the game with Terrio, who's in studio with us during the show, and he said the same thing. He said, you know what Terrio told me? He said, you know how many times in 3 years at LSU Skip Bertman asked me to bunt? Twice. And by the way, he did it on his own. He was bunting for a hit. They never, in 3 years, Ryan Terrio, who's shortstop and leadoff hitter, Skip Bertman never asked for him to bunt. They just didn't bunt. Different era of baseball. I get it. But I don't mean to make this into a bunting conversation. It's just to say sometimes your guys are better. Let them go be better. It's going to work out. Like, if you're Ohio State's offense this year, you don't need to run trick plays. You're better than Notre Dame. Just go run your offense. All right. A few more here. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. Buddy said, bases loaded, no runs is habitual early on. They get it figured out. Always enjoy postgame, Matt. Thanks. Is Jay postgame anywhere to watch? Normally, when LSU's at home, the LSU's YouTube channel will have it there. You can, if Jay Johnson has a postgame availability, it will be on the LSU Sports Radio Network as well, so you could hear it in Baton Rouge on Eagle 98.1. It probably doesn't help you a ton here because not being there, I don't know what the availability is, My other suggestion would be follow the Baton Rouge media that are at the game, because they will have individual post-game availability with Jay Johnson and the players, no doubt. Mike Ross, Larson seems to be not confident seeing pitches right now, swinging a lot of balls. The strikeout today was a problem. There's no doubt about it. And it might be a thing where he's pressing. That's one of the challenges, where when you're not in the everyday lineup and you're going to get a pinch hit opportunity like he did today, and you come up in a big spot, maybe you feel like you have to press to make something happen to earn the next opportunity. That's something only he can answer. But that is true for some guys. Like, we talked about Cade Beloso back in 2023. Beloso had so many college at-bats that, sometime around the start of conference play, he started getting pinch hit ABs, and every time he did, he just went up there and got a knock. It was like, how do you justify not having this guy? He was just so experienced. I think sometimes we forget, Larson played a ton last year, but he didn't really become like a full-time starter until midway through conference play. I think maybe he started 30 some odd games. So he's still a young player. And maybe a guy like that needs ABs every single day to get into a rhythm. Eric Joseph, keep it up, Matt. We love what you do. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Club noted. Eagle 98.1 works great. That's how I listened to most of the game while the stream wasn't working. Mike, I trust Pearson a clutch at bat over anyone else, even though he's clearly not our best statistical hitter. I mean, Josh Pearson for his career is like a 250 hitter for his cumulative career average. I'm pulling it up right here. I'll tell you exactly what it is. In his LSU career, Josh Pearson is a 255 hitter. He's a 255 career hitter. His best season was as a freshman. He batted 299, but he only had 147 ABs. For example, last year, he had 197 at-bats. But he's a 255 career hitter. He's hitting 188 this season. But you put him up in that spot, he gets the single to center that gives you the lead in the ninth. In the 10th. Sambo, you're a good man. Scone, thank you, Sambo. Appreciate you for being there. Kling jinxed Stanford's hitting. Stanfield's hitting. You mean so Paxton Kling, who transferred to Penn State, is doing great, and meanwhile Stanfield is struggling a bit offensively. Is probably what you're referring to. But I'll say this about Paxton Kling. So for those who haven't seen it, Paxton Kling transferred to Penn State. He's having a really good start to the season. Paxton Kling always was a toolsy player. He's got great size. He's got a compact swing. He's got great speed. He's got the glove. He's got the arm. Like he was a 4-tool guy. At LSU, he was really a 3-tool guy because he didn't hit for power or average. But if those things develop, and the power is always the last one to develop, then he's a pro. Like he's a big leaguer because he's got the body and the build and the tools, right? But sometimes guys like that, like we're talking about with Larson, have to play every day. And Kling was one of those guys offensively that pressed so much because he was trying to make something big happen every time. And it didn't, and it just didn't happen for him. So now he goes to Penn State, where he's not playing in front of 10,000 fans. He's not playing with all the scrutiny of LSU and the expectation. He's in the lineup every day, and he can play a little freer, and you're seeing the results. I think that's a big part of that. Good point, Robert. Jake Brown had a diving catch, and right, the defense was fantastic. Thank you. Tommy Daigle. You're right. It was Grant Fontenot who hit back-to-back batters against Omaha. And if I'm not mistaken, then it was Casey Evans who came in after the back-to-back hit batsman and got out of it. Okay, let me see if I can just get a few more in. Brooks, how long is leash on Braswell? If you had a better option, then I think that's an easy decision. Here's the pros for Braswell. First of all, Tanner Reeves got back-to-back starts, and he made 2 poor defensive plays. One, he kicked the ball in the first, and he made an errant throw as well. I think it was an errant throw. It pulled Bear Jones off the bag. So that was last week when he got back-to-back starts. Reeves hasn't shown that he's a decidedly better option. Braswell was a 300 hitter in SEC play last year, and he's been really good defensively at third base. So when you ask how long's the leash, well, until you find a better option. If you're looking for a better option, it might be John Pearson, who every time he gets in there, he just keeps slugging the baseball. So do you give him a shot maybe to hit and play third? That might be the next thing that I think we might see. Ryan subbed at third base for Braswell, but Ryan went in at third because they pinch hit for Braswell, and so then Ryan was the defensive placement, but he did get an AB in the 10th. Mike asked about a health update on Guidry. I don't have it. Only what Jay Johnson said, that they expect him to be about a week or so. Few more. Matt, I know this baseball. Any idea who Kelly may be courting to replace Bo? This is baseball, and the answer is no. I don't know yet. That's still very fresh, but as I have names or ideas, we'll certainly talk about it. Kling doing it against non-SEC pitching. That's fair. But Paxton Kling struggled in midweek games and in pre-conference games as well at LSU. It's a big part of it. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. I appreciate y'all so much for being here with us. Again, if you're watching with us live, thank you. If you're listening or watching on demand, remember, when LSU games go final, be sure to check us out here. Again, not going to be able to go live after Saturday's game against Nebraska because I'll be in New Orleans for Endymion, so I apologize for that, but it will go live after Sunday's game to wrap up the weekend, so we'll look forward to seeing you there. Hey, if you're listening on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.